Hello and welcome to the Preston Journal Sportscast. Alongside me today are Tom Jordan, Jamie Buller and John Lord. We'll be discussing Preston's recent result against Doncaster and whether they can pick themselves up from this and actually start winning some games. Is it about time they started winning some games, Tom?
I think it is. I think the recent run of form, there's been a lot of draws involved. There's only one win in the last 6, I think. And I think with the strikers they've got at the club, I think it's about time they start turning these points into 3 points and climbing back towards them playoff positions where the fans expect to be.
John, you're a Blackpool fan. Are you quite enjoying this slump in form that Preston are experiencing at the moment?
I'm not surprised by it because this league is very difficult to play in. Week by week, you can't predict the results. You can quite easily get on a run of form where a victory is hard to come by. You have to look at Nottingham Forest as an example. On their own home patch, they're absolutely lethal. They've won 10 in a row, and yet away from home they've lost the last 4. So you just can't predict it week from week. I think the league itself is just probably one of the best in the world in terms of the quality of the teams and the fact that wherever you are in the league you can beat whoever else, because it's just
one of the most competitive leagues around, isn't
and
it?
entertaining as well.
Yeah.
I think, like John says, the fact that anyone on the day can beat anybody else makes it. I don't know if he's right in saying one of the best leagues, but it certainly makes it one of the most entertaining.
One of the most entertaining, definitely. Yeah.
Jamie, you were at the match on what night was it on? Tuesday night. Jamie, you were at the match, and clearly Preston must be struggling to score a bit. They haven't scored many lately. What's the issue there? Are they creating chances or?
I think on Tuesday they played Parkin and Mellor up front, and I think the two players, although Parkin is a big physical presence, I think Mellor's the same. I just don't think they've got enough pace. I think Welbeck was a good move getting him in, and I think he scored 2 or 3 goals. But they didn't look they didn't look threatening enough to me. And I think Doncaster, to be honest, they missed a penalty, but they played much better football. And if I was Sean O'Driscoll, I'd certainly feel aggrieved that I only came away with 1 point that night.
Is Darren Ferguson to be blamed at all for this sort of form? He hasn't really pushed on. Should Preston not be up in the playoff places?
I think they probably should. Jamie just touched on it then. Too many times in the recent weeks we've seen 2 target men being selected up front. Jamie mentioned Parkin and Mellor. They've also got Chris Brown in there. They've had a few over the last couple of weeks who are the big, powerful, strong players, and they're sort of lacking this nippy striker to
just
play
cutting edge.
That's right, to play around them and actually get behind defences, unlock defences, and ultimately score goals.
So if they're lacking up front, should they be sending players like Stephen Elliott's just gone on loan to Norwich? Should they have sent him out?
That's a very good point, because I don't think they should have sent him out. No, he's a striker that's a bit different to the ones we've just mentioned, and he's a proven goal scorer at that level as well. It's all very well loaning out young players for the future, but I think Stephen Elliott's an experienced striker and he should have been kept on and kept hold of by P&A till the end of the season.
Is it too late, John, for them to push on to the playoffs? Is
yeah.
it?
I have to say, that they're going to struggle now. The gap is 10, 12 points now, so realistically it's not going to happen this season. I think, to be fair to Ferguson, he's only just come into the job, really. I mean, it's his first few months in charge. He's trying to put his own stamp on the team, and that's quite difficult when you're halfway through a season. So I think he can't be truly judged until the summer, when he has a chance to really bring in his own players. I know he's brought in 5 or 6 during January, but it's difficult for him to gel, and he clearly wants to play a different way to Irvine. Irvine was quite pragmatic and really sort of organised. He didn't want to sort of put too much emphasis on attack. He was very
conservative.
Definitely.
in his approach.
So I think he's trying to change that mindset, and at the moment it's not completely worked. There's been flashes of some good results, some good performances, but it's been pretty inconsistent so far.
Could this inconsistency see them falling further down the table, Jamie? Is relegation a possibility, or are they well clear of that?
Well, they're 14th in the table, and I sort of look at their squad, and I'm surprised really, because I think on paper they've got an absolutely fantastic team, and they should be maybe not in the playoffs, but certainly pushing and threatening to get there. I think their home form is quite important. I think teams do find it quite hard to come to Deepdale. I think it's quite an intimidating crowd, quite an intimidating place to play football. And I think they'll be fine at home. Just away from home, they've won I think 1 in the last 5, and that was against a struggling team. Plymouth on last Saturday, perfect opportunity to right that, and they they failed to get the job done there. So I think they are just going to loiter around in this sort of season. I think if you like, the season's become a bit of a write-off now because they're not really playing. I don't think they can really play for a playoff, and I don't think they're going to. Also, additionally, there's no danger of getting sucked into a relegation dogfight.
I think Jamie said something very important there, in that when a new manager comes in halfway through the season, it's all about stabilising the club. You've got to give him a chance to look at the players that he wants to take to the next level next season. It's important they stay in the league, which they probably will do anyway. They're not going to push on, so it's the rest of the season is an exercise for the manager to be able to have a look at the players who he wants to keep, the ones he wants to get rid of, and the ones who he thinks he can bring in other players to work with the ones he's got already.
Alright, so we're looking at a boring mid-table finish to the season for Preston. Thanks very much, guys. This was the Preston Journal Sportscast. We'll see you next week.